Welcome to today's video. The war in Ukraine has entered a new phase, and the world watches as a frustrating stalemate continues to define the conflict. In today's video, we'll explore the situation on the ground, the challenges both sides are facing, and what this means for Ukraine, Russia, and the world. This ongoing war, which began in February 2022, is more than just a military conflict. It's a geopolitical struggle with global consequences. At first, many expected the war to be short-lived, but more than a year later, the front lines remain largely unchanged. Both Ukraine and Russia are entrenched in a grueling battle, with no decisive breakthrough in sight. What does this stalemate mean for the future of the war? And how has it impacted the countries involved? Ukraine's resistance has been nothing short of remarkable. Ukrainian forces have pushed back Russian troops in several key areas, even managing to retake important territories. The Ukrainian strategy has relied on resilient defense, counterattacks where possible, and the support of Western allies. But despite the arrival of advanced weaponry from the West, Ukraine has struggled to break the Russian defense. Meanwhile, Russia, despite facing heavy losses, continues to advance slowly in eastern and southern Ukraine. The Russian military, though still formidable, has faced serious logistical challenges. International sanctions have compounded these difficulties, crippling Russia's economy and limiting its ability to replenish supplies. Yet Russia remains resolute in its determination to capture key Ukrainian territories. The battle on the ground is brutal. Artillery duels, trench warfare and aerial bombardments define the conflict. While both sides claim to inflict heavy losses on each other, no side has been able to deliver a decisive blow. Ukraine's forces continue to put up a fierce resistance, but with limited resources, the path to victory seems uncertain. One of the major challenges in the war's current phase is the difficulty of gaining ground. While both sides have managed to capture and lose territory in various regions, neither side has secured a significant advantage in recent months. This has led to what many experts are now calling a stalemate. The situation has become a battle of attrition, with high casualties and little to show for it in terms of territorial gains. While this situation is difficult for both sides, Ukraine's survival and its ability to hold key cities like Kyiv and Kharkiv is a testament to their resilience. The Ukrainian people and military forces are determined to defend their sovereignty, and the Western nations supporting them are deeply committed to ensuring Ukraine's survival. But the costs are high, and as the war drags on, the stakes grow even greater. At the same time, the international community is deeply involved in the conflict. The West, particularly the United States, the European Union, and NATO members, have pledged billions of dollars in support to Ukraine, providing critical military aid, economic assistance, and humanitarian support. This support has been a lifeline for Ukraine, allowing its military to hold its ground and continue to resist Russian advances. However, as the war persists, there are questions about how sustainable this level of international support will be. With each passing month, the costs of supporting Ukraine rise, and public opinion in some Western countries is beginning to shift. Some are questioning how long their governments will continue to provide such significant aid. The economic toll of the war is staggering, both for Ukraine and for Russia. Ukraine has faced massive destruction to its infrastructure, devastating its economy and displacing millions of people. The cost of rebuilding will be astronomical, and there is little clarity on how long it will take for Ukraine to recover, assuming the war ever ends. For Russia, the situation is also dire. The sanctions imposed by the West have crippled the Russian economy, and military logistics have been stretched to the limit. The Russian military faces shortages of critical supplies, including ammunition and equipment. Despite these challenges, Russia continues to push forward in the war, with its leadership showing no signs of backing down. Meanwhile, the global political implications of this war are profound. The conflict has strained international relations, particularly between the West and Russia. NATO's continued support for Ukraine has fueled tensions between the alliance and Russia, and the conflict has reshaped global alliances, with countries around the world taking sides. In addition to the political and military aspects of the conflict, the humanitarian crisis in Ukraine continues to deepen. Millions of people have fled their homes, seeking refuge in other countries. The destruction of cities and infrastructure has left countless people without shelter, food, or basic necessities. Humanitarian organizations continue to struggle to meet the overwhelming needs of the displaced population. Diplomatic efforts to bring about a ceasefire or peace agreement have stalled. Both Russia and Ukraine have made it clear that they are unwilling to negotiate without certain conditions. Ukraine insists on the restoration of its territorial integrity, including the return of Crimea, while Russia demands recognition of its territorial gains in eastern Ukraine. The gap between the two sides remains wide, making any peace talks seem unlikely. Looking ahead, the future of the war remains uncertain. While the stalemate persists, there are several potential scenarios. One possibility is that the conflict could continue for months or even years, with both sides locked in a deadlock. Another scenario is that one side could eventually break through, either through a change in military tactics or a shift in political leadership. However, there is also the potential for further escalation. As both sides dig in and other global powers continue to exert influence, there is a real risk that the war could spread beyond Ukraine's borders. This could involve direct conflict between Russia and NATO countries, or it could lead to broader regional instability. While a diplomatic resolution seems distant, it is important to remember that wars do eventually come to an end. The question is how long this one will last, and how much more destruction it will cause before any peace is achieved. Will the international community be able to broker a deal, or will the conflict continue to rage for years to come? As we continue to watch this ongoing conflict, it's crucial to understand the far-reaching consequences of the war. The outcome of this battle will have lasting implications for global security, economics, and international relations. The world's attention remains focused on Ukraine, and the stakes could not be higher. In conclusion, the war in Ukraine is at a crossroads. The stalemate has become a defining feature of the conflict, with both sides entrenched in their positions. The future remains uncertain, but one thing is clear: the war will shape the geopolitical landscape for years to come. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe for more updates on this ongoing conflict and its global implications.